right, our guest tonight is wrestling legend Bob Backlund. How you doing?
I'm having a great day today.
Well, that's fantastic. You told me it's beautiful weather in Connecticut. I'm very jealous as someone in Philadelphia who's dealing with terrible cold right now. I appreciate that it's nice somewhere in this country.
The sun is shining, and I'm smiling from ear to ear.
Well, I'm sure it's because you're talking to us, right?
Oh, it's a pleasure. Yeah, yeah.
Well, recently you released an autobiography titled Backlund, From All-American Boy to Professional Wrestling's World Champion. What kind of response have you received from the fans, and what have fellow wrestlers said to you about the book?
I haven't had anybody say anything negative at all. Because of this book, I got a heck of a recommendation from Sports Illustrated. I've gotten letters from libraries all over Connecticut and New York about what it's all about and how much they love the book and how much they love the talk that I give about the book, and everything is going in a real good direction.
Mike Chiari?
Well, I can imagine the process of writing a book, especially an autobiography, can be extremely challenging and time-consuming experience. So now that you're a little ways removed from the process of writing it, what was the most difficult aspect of that for you? And also, what was the most enjoyable?
I kind of like the process. And I had a book that was ready to go in 1968, and no publishing company would publish it because there was no other wrestling books out. They didn't want to take a chance. And I've always wanted to get a book out, and I had opportunities. I had people call me and want to write a book, and I didn't think they're the right person. But finally, in 2009, a guy by the name of Rob Miller wrote me a letter, or sent me a FedEx, and he said, you were my childhood hero, and I want to write a book about you. And it took us 5 years to do that. It was a heck of a process. We met in the Glastonbury Library to talk about whether we were going to do it or not. He wanted to find out if I was really that person that he was a hero for. And he found out I basically was that person, and he went ahead and wrote the book, and he wrote ahead of a book. I liked the process. We met hours at a time, and it seemed like it was maybe 2 hours or 3 hours, but it was like 8 hours. It was so much fun. He had a book that was 4 inches thick with paper with every match I had in my life in that book. When I saw that, when I met him, I thought, this is the guy I gotta have write the book. And he did a heck of a job, and I just told him the story, and but it was a great process.
Bernie Galvin?
Last time we spoke, you shared some intense stories from your book, such as having to sleep in your car. However, is there any moment you could share from your book that you would rank among your most enjoyable from your time in wrestling?
Well, when I got the championship from Graham in Madison Square Garden, I met him in Fargo, North Dakota, in 1971 at the YMCA. I was going to North Dakota State University. He was going to have a match at the Civic Center in Fargo, North Dakota, and we were working out not together, but in the YMCA. I was doing bench presses, he was doing curls, and he says, "Did you ever think about getting into the wrestling business?" I said no, and we went our part ways. But the most amazing thing, and it was kind of enjoyable because we going to get into the championship. I was standing in Madison Square Garden about 6 years after I met him. I'm looking across the ring. It's Billy Superstar Graham standing there, and I'm going to take the WWF belt from him. And that was a moment that I think about it all the time. It was such a amazing thing to be able to meet him at a YMCA someplace, and a few years later meet him in Madison Square Garden.
Well, you mentioned North Dakota State University, where you were an amateur wrestling star. As someone who made the successful jump from the amateur ranks to pro wrestling, what are your thoughts on a superstar like Brock Lesnar, who made a similar jump, and other stars like Chad Gable, who are coming up now, who made similar jumps?
Well, it's to me, it's not a hard thing. You got to mentally. You want to go out there and win matches and win matches and win matches. I changed my goal once I got into professional wrestling. I said I'm going to go out there and try to entertain it at as high level as I could. And so I didn't have any problem whether I win or lose, but it was just, all about having as good a match as you can. And I think the other, Brock Lesnar and they love the business just as much as they did the athletics in amateur wrestling.
Mike Urey?
Well, in much the same vein as Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, he's a guy who was an Olympic gold medalist as an amateur wrestler before he went on to become one of the all-time greats in professional wrestling. And I always really enjoyed the work that you did with him in 2000. So looking back, how do you regard your time with Kurt Angle, and what are your overall impressions of him and what he ultimately became in the wrestling business?
Well, I have a lot of respect for his in-ring skills. To win the Olympics, it's very, not too many people get a chance to do that, and that's a great accomplishment. He was a great amateur wrestler, and when I was doing some stuff with him, I was using the cross-face chicken wing, and we were wanting him to have it, so he got it on me one time, and I didn't watch that much, but do you know what happened with the cross-face chicken wing? Because he didn't use it very much.
Yeah,
I
didn't see him use it very much after.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But, I use it, and I still use it. It's pretty good,
It was a great move.
When I was with Heath Slater, I put him in a chicken wing, and everybody in the building was roaring, I don't know why. Maybe it just didn't fit with him.
Actually, no. Now that I think about it, no one in the current wrestling industry uses that move. What do you think that is?
Yeah, I don't know. I was the first one to do that. The chicken wing and the crossface had been in the business for a long time, but I was the first one to clasp my hands when I had both of them on. So I was sort of the inventor of it. Maybe I heard there was a lady using it some.
I haven't seen it. But I honestly haven't seen anyone use it very much. And it's when I think of the move, we instinctively think of you though. So in that sense, it's a good thing.
Yeah, right, yeah, no, but and I still when I go to the signings like at WrestleMania, people they had the option of what they wanted to do. They wanted me to put them in the chicken wing. I heard everybody at WrestleMania, and then with the chicken wing, yeah. But it was kind of interesting because there was other guys there too, and everybody wanted me to put the chicken wing on them.
That's very funny. BG?
Well, talking about people putting people in the chicken wing, do you still have the itch to wrestle? And do you recall the last time you spoke with WWE about having a match?
Well, when I got put into the Hall of Fame in 2013, I said to Triple H that I'd like to get in the business and put a little more W in it. And I was serious about it. But I don't know if he's ever going to do that. I don't probably, I think about it, but yeah, I would love to get in there and have a war or something. I'm 66 years old, but I feel like a spring rooster. And I work out every day. My pulse was 42 the other day.
I'm sitting here and I can see on my watch mine is 66. So even at 66, you're more physically impressive than I am. So you have that going for you. I work at the step test. Really makes your heart rate go down. The Harvard step test. Yes.
Yeah, and I do that a few times a day, and I do high number of squats and some weightlifting and some stretching. Yeah. But,
Okay, well, changing gears a little bit here. You have seen top stars come and go in WWF and WWE, you yourself being one for a very long time. But one top star making news lately, for all the wrong reasons, has been Hulk Hogan. What was your perception of Hogan as he was coming up in the business, and how did he stack up in your mind against legends like yourself and Bruno Sammartino, who carried the company for so long?
Well, I know Bruno Sammartino is a great man, and he has a lot of integrity, a lot of honor, and he was very concerned of what kind of guy was going to replace him, and and he didn't know me very well, but we didn't, and I didn't know him, but 2 or 3 years later, we figured out we were both on the same page, and we got along very well, but we never talked very much. But we both did not really, Hogan was a great person in the ring, but we didn't like his outside activities, and thought that he wasn't a very good representation or a very good model for young people to be able to be looking up to. He didn't walk the walk.
That's fair. Mike Chiari?
Well, you had a chance to work for some of the biggest and most legendary promoters of all time, most notably Vern Gagne, Vincent J. McMahon, and Vincent K. McMahon. So based on your experiences, which did you most enjoy working for, and what kind of set them apart from the others?
Well, Vince McMahon Sr. Became like a dad to me, especially after he promised me that he was going to I was going to get the belt. He told me that about 4 months ahead of time, and Billy Graham and a bunch of other people were trying to talk him out of it, and I didn't really know Vince very well, so I didn't know if he was going to actually do it, because he had some good reasons not to give it to me, because I wasn't a proven commodity as far as buying or selling out buildings, where Billy Graham was, doing very well with the title in the territory. But he told him, I promised him, and I'm going to give it to him. It doesn't make any difference what you think. And because of that, he became like a father to me, a role model and everything. And I had such a great time wrestling for him and working with him. He was very, he'd come and say, do you want to do this? He never ever said, here's what we're going to do. What do you think? And that was a pretty heck of a nice guy to work for and work with. I loved the time there, and nothing could ever top that as far as me having a boss.
Brandon Gavin, final question?
Safety of the wrestlers has been a major talking point in recent years, especially regarding concussions and CTE. What are your thoughts on the safety precautions in today's business, and what are your thoughts on wrestlers donating their brains for CTE research?
Yeah, well, you know what? I played football in high school, and I played wrestling in high school and college, track, and then I wrestled for most of my life, and I've never ever had any problems. But I think it can get a little more. I don't know if I ever hit anybody with a chair. I don't think I ever jumped off the top rope. And a lot of activities that go on in the ring sometimes cause those things to happen. Yeah, and you don't want to get in a business and then lose your memory or anything like that just because, or you can't even survive because your mind doesn't work very well. That wouldn't be too good. And I hope that they can find some way to lower the numbers as far as damage to somebody's mind in the business.
Well, a huge thank you to wrestling legend Bob Backlund. Go check out his book, Backlund, From All-American Boy to Professional Wrestling's World Champion, which can be purchased at bobbacklundnow.com. Tell the fans where they can support you, sir.
Yeah, pardon me?
Tell the fans where they can support you.
Yeah, they can go on Backlund Energy or Backlund, Bob Backlund Now. Bob Backlund Now is a new website, and it's pretty interesting and pretty exciting. And I've been going around the country, in Connecticut and New York and Boston, going to libraries, and every once in there's a little list or a place in there where you can find out where I'm appearing on the website.
Yeah, and I have checked out the website. It has all your dates. It has where you can purchase the book. It has all the updated information about you there. So it is definitely worth the time. bobbacklundnow.com is the website. Another huge thank you to Bob Backlund. Thank you so much for the time, sir.
No, it's a pleasure. I thank you very much. In one of these days, I'd like to come down there and do it live.
Absolutely. We'd love that.